Yep.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Skramble Life, episode 1, with the man that started it all. What, 11 years ago?
10 years ago.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
Joey Arndt, a.k.a. Scramble Joe.
Thank you. I did start it with 2 other people, so shout out to Jim Runnett and Rich Runnett as well.
Yeah.
We started it together 10 years ago. But listen, that's all good, but it would not be to this level without him. So, like, he really has made this really cool.
Yeah, I think talking to you when I first had the idea and going over in my head, like, the idea where we wanted to go, I thought we could take the idea of Scramble and add, like, a house for Scramble.
Yeah. It's
just that was what needed to happen, I thought. Definitely the name of the podcast, I think, Scramble Life.
Scramble Life, yeah, Squad Life.
Yeah, just I think about it all the time, like what we could do from the start of like what Scramble has gotten to, whether it's golf, life, business, your job, outside of, golf and Scramble, how you started Scramble, when I first learned about Scramble, and now we're 4 years after pretty much we opened the first one and this idea, and now, I think as we go, everyone kind of, ask questions, hey, how we're doing, what we're up to, and I just think this is the next evolution of, content and to tell our story, to showcase, what we do on a daily basis, because I know from my standpoint, no one really sees it unless you follow us on Instagram, or see my stories from day in and day out. And obviously you've seen it from the start, but it's an everyday deal. So I feel like it's the Scramble Life, and it could mean so many different things. I mean, so many people want to come on, which is great for guests. Demographics huge, from ladies to men to juniors. And what does the Scramble Life mean to them? And listening to them, bro, that just like gets me jacked.
Yeah, and thank you, because you've really taken the whole Scramble thing and made it really, really way bigger than I ever thought it could be, and given us this platform to be able to talk about it. So I think it's really, really cool.
Well, I think it's one of those things. It starts like something, and then you meet somebody, and they go, "Hey, I got an idea," and you're like, "Oh man, I never thought about that."
That's a crazy thing. So when we first started Scramble, the irony of the whole thing is that it was...
When did you start Scramble?
So 10 years... We just celebrated our 10-year anniversary this past September.
Okay, so 2013.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. September 17th, which is also my wedding anniversary.
Yes. Oh, yeah. So then then.
Yes. Very long time. And the reason we started it was really, I don't want to say anti-country club, but it was in a sense. Yeah. My buddy Rich's kids started playing golf, and and then like, well, what do I wear, and blah blah blah, and it's like, wow, there really isn't anything for the young kid, teenager who's getting into it, who might the only golfers he knows are his grandfather and his uncle, and maybe they don't like the way they dress or whatever, and that's kind of how it started. And it was like, well, let's just make our own. Yeah. And that's what we did. We just made our own clothes to wear. And,
that was that's TikTok, pre-Instagram,
not pre-Instagram. Okay, Instagram was really...
It's starting to get going, and then you've kind of, and a lot of people, and I think from the start, we should really kind of get from your kind of viewpoint and how you started it, and then kind of fast forward to probably 2017, 2018 when I started working with you.
Right. So it was like I said, it was like almost like anti-country club in a way. It was like, okay, we're going against the masses. We love playing golf, but I don't want to play it the way you play it.
Yeah.
I don't want to be stuffy. I don't want to do whatever. I want to go out. I want to laugh with my friends. I want to have a couple of drinks. I want to, videotape it. And we
listen to music.
But we were playing Pinecrest and Fairways and all these other places.
Yeah.
And then fast forward a little bit later, end up joining Commonwealth and then running into you.
Yeah, we meet.
The last thing I ever wanted to do in my life is take a lesson. That was always a source of pride to me. It was like, no, I'm self-taught. Now, I was a 13 handicap, so,
and
great.
Dude, you use that so proud of, like, I'm self-taught. Right. Which, by the way, it gets you to that a point, right?
Yeah.
Dude,
only to
from
a certain
the start point, you didn't even want to be a part of a country club, and now look at you're at at a private club and probably one of the best in the area. Sure. And I feel like so many people get to Philly and they just see private and initiations 50, 60, 70K to get in on top of dues. Yeah. And then you need someone to then vouch for you. It's just the process. And I feel like when I first met you and I heard about Scramble Squad or whatever, it was kind of one of those, and we've talked about it before, kind of like a hobby. Like, it's just a cool thing that you do, and if if you're in, you're in. If not a big deal. Obviously you rock the logo, which obviously the logo is sexy. It's cool. Something kind of comes up, and then I see obviously all the guys on Instagram. Then we started following each other, and then all of a sudden everyone's like, Joe's got like 70,000 followers and all that stuff, and I think that game. Pre-Scramble House, pre-viral video. You've done the golf shows. You were in you did some viral videos like back in the day. And you can see like the personality has changed. YouTube golf with Good and Grant. I mean, it's a different level nowadays. And I feel like with your job, and now obviously you're doing great at your company. It's a challenge to take a brand from zero and just to make it something.
So what I'm most proud of, when we started the company, all the sales and everything came from Instagram. But what I'm most proud of is the people that we met, the loyal friends that I've made. I mean, some of my best friends that I have right now are all because of Scramble, met on Instagram, and then had a whole big core group of there that we'd go down to the PGA show. We'd stay down there for a week. We played golf with the guys, and we've had guys. We had a guy from Japan come and play with us on 3 different occasions. From Japan, dude. It's insane.
It's wild.
Yeah, Texas, K Lobster, what's up? Like, I have a guy in Utah. He changed his handle to Scramble Utah and has a Scramble tattoo on his hand. Then you start feeling this
some dope content out too.
Right. And then fast forward, and then I meet you, and like I said, it's so that's where the irony is I never in a million years wanted to take a lesson, much less thought that I would go to a country club and meet somebody that I would want to. You basically bullied me into a lesson, thank God. Yeah. But then take the first lesson and realize, wow, we got a lot more in common than you think.
And I think a lot of people, and this is kind of where I think you and I relationship has started when we were there. Yeah. We met on the range, obviously. In the club life, Mr., Mrs., and all this stuff. And obviously, that's not how you roll. And that's not how I roll. So it was a nice, hey, dude, we're just chilling at night. Let's go play 9 holes. And then all of a sudden, we started hitting some balls, getting you a little bit better, seeing some things, changing some things. And then all of a sudden, you started playing better golf. And obviously, that's more fun. Yeah. But all the stuff that we've done was way more, more of a friend relationship than a teacher coach. Right. Hey, I'm going to come and videotape your swing and whatever. I just think so many people have gotten lost in that world, and you can see YouTube, you can see online, and I feel like, yes, your swing might be your deal. It's just different nowadays when you start talking about coaching and teaching the relationships that you build. And I feel like the club, as we grew our relationship, the club didn't really like what we did on a daily basis, whether it's content. Right. We were the
flying
only
drones.
We were flying drones. I mean, I got to find that footage, but we were the only ones doing that stuff in a private club life. Nowadays, people hire people to fly drones. That was 10 years ago, and it's just funny how we've been together, and now we have obviously a business together. But it's just dude, we were pushing the envelope as much as we could before, just to. And by the way, that's just who we are. Yeah. If I go, hey, I got a cool shot, let's go film it. Yeah. I was calling you. Yeah. I wasn't calling. We
were just having fun being ourselves.
And things came up and things did that, and I feel like the grind of that club life changed over time, and then all of a sudden COVID happened. Situation happened at the club for me that I had to look at and go, hey, where's my next move? Called you up and I go, hey, got an idea. I don't know where it's going to go, but I wanted to bring Scramble in there because I feel like once I left the club and and I didn't have anywhere to go, I still wanted Skramble in my life just because of what you guys did. And like, I was like, man, that's a cool spot. I think I can like help build Skramble, not take it away and go, hey, this is my deal. Let's go. You know what I mean? Like, and that's where, you know, the idea of, okay, let's have a house of golf and Skramble. Yeah. And, you know, I remember calling you and going, hey, I could choose any name, but I'd like to use Skramble. And, you know, it'd be nice for you to be involved so it didn't get muddy. It didn't, you know, we didn't have to change things. And, you know, and as a lot of people don't understand, when you start a company, you got to trademark, you got to do lawyer stuff, they got to do all the due diligence. And there's a lot of things that came up because of you and having you involved. Obviously, it helps. And we're not slowing down. It's just getting bigger. But now we're in our own media room, podcast room that, you know, that we've built so we can have this kind of conversation years, you know, down the road, you know, 4 years since realistically I raised the cash from that first time in the office room, in the conference room. Yeah. I was just at that actually office the other day and it looks so different because, God, it feels so long
ago, but But then it also feels like yesterday too,
dude. It's so fast. Like I remember signing the lease for the first deal. Yeah, and you know I think you know and part of the issue I feel like as I left the club, all my relationships stopped. You know our relationship stopped because I don't see you. You're doing stuff. You're playing at the club, and that's kind of where we saw each other a lot. And then it's challenge to do what we do every day and then figure it out. So now that we can kind of get going and do some different things, I feel like showcasing our story is the next step. So
I just want to go back because I think it's important to mention this part of it. You came to me and wanted to use a name before I didn't think I was going to be able to invest, and still wanted to use a name, and that I'll be forever thankful of that to prove, wow, he really. Yeah, this is bigger than just whatever. You know what I mean? It's not about the money. It's not about any of the other things.
Money. I mean, like people look at like our stuff and it's comical because when you start talking about investment capital business, they all of a sudden look at scaling and franchise and all this bullshit. But it's realistically like, hey, this is what you started. I think it's like rock star. You don't really have the time or the firepower to really put into something that large. And we know there's brands everywhere. Yep. But you look at what we're doing on a bigger scale. It's like, dude, we have over 500 members. We started with 0. Mm-hmm. That's 500 more people that we can really start to affect and have Skramble be a part of it. And it's just funny listening around Philly. Everyone's like, yeah, I'm going to Skramble, or like, hey, did you hear about Skramble? And it's more about Skramble than the Skramble House of Golf, and it's run by and owned by and all that stuff. And I feel like as we grow, we've done a pretty good job of doing that, right? It's always about squad. It's always about the members. It's all about our logo, branding, making sure people understand, hey, this is a special place that not too many people can come in. And that's kind of what we've always wanted to, whether it's our dress code, be very comfortable, wear hoodies and sweatpants, graffiti on the wall, all that kind of stuff. And I feel like going back, if you ask me what I wanted, for 5 years, this is exactly what I want. Now, it'd be nice to have the third one here shortly because it's just starting to to branch out and it's working nicely. And it's just nice to have a team where, you have a part of the company, but it's more about everyone's just like-mindedness. So, but yeah.
How cool is it when you're just out and about and you see a car drive by with the Skramble sticker? Yeah. Or you see a guy wearing the hat. And that was always cool. In the past, it didn't happen as much before Skramble House, but it happened. But now, I mean, it's everywhere.
And everyone cool. And everyone sends me the pictures, or they see the head cover, and it means something, right? So I feel like and that's another thing. Logos are so huge in Philly. You got top clubs, and let's be real. A lot of people just don't have that chance to go play that top club, right? And to be able to have a brand and a logo attached to who we are. It says a lot because listen, there's you look at just any company around businesses in golf, they don't. It's just they don't know your name. right? You spend a lot of money at them. They have no idea who you are. And I'm telling you, dude, I look at, you go to Capitol Grill, very nice dinner. Spend probably over, 4-figure number, and they have no idea who you are. Yeah. And it's just a different deal for us. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of where, we started you have to say hi and bye when you walk in the door. You've always been a part of that. You do such a great job with, at the club where you're at with the juniors.
Well, I was going to mention that's a big part of one of the big things we have in common. Yeah, it's just who we are. We just want to make it fun for them. But at the same time, you're really good at teaching them stuff, and I'd like to think that I'm good at teaching them stuff in a different way.
And you don't even have kids, right? You don't have kids. I don't have kids. But it's the responsibility, right? And I feel like we have I would say a responsibility for, well, listen, their parents drop their kids off at Skramble.
Sure.
You know how many hours they spend at Skramble. Mm-hmm. And we have to make sure that they're accountable.
Yep.
And just like you hold me accountable and I hold you accountable. Yep. And I feel like once we start to do that on a large scale, people start to police themselves. Yes. And we've been open for a year and a half now. You walked in today, and what did you say when you walked in?
Hello.
But I'm saying about the place.
It looks clean. It looks great. It's busy. This is great. I mean,
dude, it's end of April.
Yeah.
Gorgeous outside. Yeah. And we got 10 Sims going.
Yeah, that was surprising.
Yeah, and that's part of what's happening as I'm seeing from our first location to our second. Yeah. First location's always great. In the winter does that stuff, but people out this way, they have no place to go. And now all of a sudden, we had our biggest month in April.
No way.
Of members.
Wow.
The most members in new members, in 1 month. It's our biggest month this year.
Wow.
I mean, it's great, and that's what I really want this place to be, right? So we have more members in the summer than the winter. That's what the concept was always about. Yeah. Giving them lessons, instruction, stuff you can't get at your private club.
Right.
You just can't.
That's such a key thing. He's hitting the same swing over and over, and he's practicing he's grooving his bad swing.
And then you ask him what his numbers are on those swings.
Exactly.
And he's like, I have no idea.
Right. And he's like, well, but I can see that the ball's going right. Yeah, but you don't know if it's going right because it's spinning right or because you're blocking it right or starting right. And it's like, you just don't understand how, and that's the biggest thing. You teach the swing, but what I've learned the most from Skramble House is I can now, because you see the numbers and what causes the ball to do certain things, you can fix your swing on the course so much faster.
Yeah.
Like a couple of swings, you're like, duh.
Oh, get that feeling back.
Yes, right. And it's not always going to happen, but I mean, better than before.
I'm seeing ridiculous growth and development out of our players, from 40 handicappers to 3 handicappers, anyone in the middle. They're literally learning things so much faster. They're talking about ball speeds, launch angles. Like today, I had a guy that spins a wedge over 12,000. That's ridiculous, and he has no idea what he's doing.
It's more than me. That's a lot.
That's crazy. You know what I mean? And the fact that we can do, and listen, as well as I do, there's no reason why you need to spend $250 an hour for a golf lesson. And that's just our belief. Yeah. And I can have a conversation 20, 30 minutes in, change everything. I gained a guy 30 yards the other day, a member of another private club, takes lessons, challenging. He's playing this weekend, and he shot an 83 as a 14 handicap.
That's great.
And he won his match.
That's awesome.
And he comes in jacked up, all this stuff. And, we have an opportunity that not too many people can have, whether it's instruction, whether it's just friends bringing people in. I had a new member today, 8 o'clock in the morning. He could bring his buddies in and play golf and not get charged crazy amount of guest or, greens fees. So, I think that's all, where we're going to go in the future because of what's happened, in this KOP model and a bigger model and, having 12 Sims versus 5 Sims. But, I think it'd be cool to you're like one of the first ones that heard about this idea concept. Yeah. And as well as I do, we've changed it a million times.
Yeah, well, it changed. One thing has always stayed the same, right? And then what I think is so cool about it is it's a place to come hit golf balls, and when you're around, whether you have a lesson or not, you care about all the members so much that you'll walk by and you'll be like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like this, whatever. And you'll get them back on track. There's plenty of people that would be charging for lessons and just being like, hey man, I can fix that. make an appointment. No, you're on everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody here is they rep you, and you're want to know their scores, and you want to know not only their scores but how they're getting their scores so you can get them better. And I think that's just such a different thing. There's been, how do you say this without? Well, I'm just going to say it. There's other pros that have been around that don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care what you're shooting. They don't care if you're getting better. They're coming to work and they're doing whatever. And I'm not saying if you have a lesson with them, they're not going to care for that hour.
Yeah.
But what are they going to do after that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's all, and listen, in any business, and that's why I feel like this is so important to us because I can only do so much, right? Mm-hmm. And I only have so much bandwidth. But if I can see numbers and I can see videos or we can have a conversation, it's so much faster.
Right.
And I feel like because at other clubs, they're so revolved around member guest. Listen, I screwed up probably one of the biggest tournaments at the club, the member. And I'll never forget, I messed up the handicap. Mm-hmm. And I did the math wrong. Right. I just got done teaching 10 hours straight.
Right.
I'm running in the shop. My boss said, "Hey, do these numbers. We need to get it up because we need we have that dinner tonight at the member dinner." Yeah. So I did the numbers. Man, I freaking grinding. I was exhausted.
Yeah.
50 numbers quick. Get up there, no problem. Everyone betted. The next day, nobody said anything. They went out and played. The second round, they come in. They go, "Hey, handicaps are wrong."
Wow,
bro, that was murder. Wow. I look at my boss and I was like, "Yeah, I messed up."
Wow.
And we didn't know what to do. There was 4 out of the 50 teams or whatever, 4 of them only were off 0.2. But the member at the time they were everything counted, and it was
it's a lot of money,
decent money,
yeah.
And it was like, what do I do? I'm like, I'm going to lose my job over a mistake that happens all the time in the golf club world because we have so many duties and responsibilities.
Yeah.
And it's like, hang on, my job is to get people better at golf. I don't care about the handicap or member. Now I'll help run it, but it's not my job.
Well, that's the thing. I can't even really blame some pros because I've learned from you how you get treated and all the other stuff that you're doing, and
it's crazy.
And it's nuts. So it's hard to really blame the person. You're right, but that's what's great about here is you have that freedom.
Honestly, I feel like I'm always going to be this, even if I worked for you. And I told you this, and a lot of people don't realize this in the golf world. Golf pros do not get treated well. They do not get compensated well. And it is a disaster of an industry. Mm. And you can talk about, PGA, which I just resigned. We can talk about that at a later date. But it doesn't matter. In this world, in the golf world, everyone goes, "Man, you're the greatest. That's the greatest job in the world." I'm like, you can have it for a week. Not even a week. 3 days. Right. Let me know how that goes.
Yeah, and especially during summer.
Yeah, and you've seen it from the start. Mm-hmm. And, for me, once I built this, I was like, okay, I love what I do teaching-wise. I love helping people. Every person that calls Skramble, they call my cell phone. Even if I'm in a lesson, you can bother me.
Right.
It's that important to me. That phone call or that text. And people, you can say it all you want. You're not focused and stuff. Dude, I can do 150 things all at the same time and still get it done.
You might take a 5-minute phone call, but then goes back to what I'm saying, which is, while I'm just hitting balls and I don't have a lesson, you're still helping.
I'm still watching your stuff because, dude, you got to play good.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand. It's like they come in here, you can hit golf balls. Yeah. If you suck, you hurt my brand.
Right.
That ain't going to happen. Yeah. You go on the street and go, "Oh, I joined Skramble," and you get worse. Yeah. No. Yeah. It's just that. So if you get worse, I kick you out because that's just not how it goes. Yeah. And last year, my boy JK, he got worse, and I gave his money back. Because I that's not going to happen. We work our ass off to get you better at golf, and if you don't, I give your money back. Yeah. Because that's the thing in golf, and the dues. Are they ever going to give you your dues back for nothing? No, they're not going to do that. They're going to charge you more, and every year gets worse. Oh, yeah. And this year, our dues are dropping. Why? Because I want to do that for our members, right? And a lot of our members have been with us for a long time since we've opened, and I feel like growing this business is more from a grassroots up, right? Take care of our core members. And, I had a lady today, she wants me to advertise in her magazine. I have no idea her magazine. It's like $1,500 a month. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know if you know who I am. And like, I have 5 phone calls. I literally talk to the person that's going to join. Right. I don't need a magazine or Comcast calls me and does something. Philly's wanted me to do something, as soon as you get on the TV, like PHL 17 or Fox or whatever I was on, oh my gosh, right. It's like crazy, you put something in. So yeah, I feel like as we grow and get bigger and do more and stuff, I just want to stay very similar in our beliefs and, making sure, and a lot of people have said it, the value is crazy.
Yeah.
And you can go anywhere in the world to an indoor facility, no one's going to give you the value like Skramble. And that's what I really wanted. Because, dude, I hear 5K assessment. I hear 10K dues. I hear $250 an hour for less. I hear $5,000 for a set of clubs, bro.
Oh, yeah.
I remember, I love her to death. She went and got fitted. She gave me the invoice, bro, for 7 clubs. It was $4,000. and you know as well as I do, like half these people don't even know what they're doing. No. But that's the golf world nowadays, right? Since COVID, it spiked.
Yeah.
Right? And everyone's trying to cash in. And I feel like if we just stay on top of and what we do and take care of our members, they take care of us. And you have a big, I have a big payout this end of the year to all our partners, and once we pay it out, we'll build again, and that's just kind of how it goes. And you've been kind of the first adopter, in this thing, and you've probably talk about a little bit what you've heard from the outside people looking in to what we've done and say, so-called investor partner. And because I feel like people just don't hear these stories a lot. Yeah. And they just like to see the story, like the success stories. I really feel like these type of people, I want them to come in here and sit down and talk to us and go, what made you think that it was cool to go to Joe and go, hey, you're not going to make it? It's just wild to me, So talk about that.
First of all, coming from that private club world and having somebody leave that you're just, I don't want to say ostracized, but they're just, I hate this word, but it's just haters. It's just blackballed, dude.
You're blackballed.
You're blackballed, and it's hard to explain. But so when people ask you how's it going over there, that the answer they want to hear, right?
Yeah.
They want to hear it's terrible.
That's terrible.
Yeah,
it won't work.
Right, exactly. But then when you tell them stories like, Ryan. Ryan for the first winter there, he was a shy kid and hardly could say hi to anybody, and then he comes there and he spends a whole winter over there during COVID.
Yep.
You would pick him up and then take him home, and he got tremendously better at golf. Made the high school
team,
right? But more importantly, he became just so much more comfortable around people.
Yeah.
And those are the stories that I think are really, really, really important.
But they're lost though.
They're
in
lost,
that whole
right?
thing,
But he made states as a state tournament as a freshman and all these other things.
Which, by the way, is cool for the golf world.
But he was able to go there and practice every single day.
Yeah.
For as long as he wanted.
Yeah.
For a very reasonable price.
Yeah.
And you have Kevin Lyden. Same thing, and he was there the whole winter.
He's at LaSalle College, and he's still there.
That's the only time I see him now. Is there? Well, I just saw him over at a private club this past weekend as well. But he set NCAA freshman record.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he worked his ass off at Skramble, and you can't do that everywhere else.
Johnny Stevenson, right?
John Stevenson.
It's the same thing.
It's just all over the place. But to go back to the people that aren't involved or aren't members, again, they don't want to see, most people don't want to see other people succeed. It's an unfortunate thing.
Yeah.
Instead of taking inspiration from it, which you should do.
Yeah.
Listen, when you brought me the idea, it's an idea, and it didn't really even make a lot of sense to me at the time.
Yeah.
And to see what it's become is awesome, and it's inspiring, and it's made me want to do more with Skramble and with other things, and to innovate in my full-time job and everything else like that. So that's all really cool. But people are they're going to I can't come up with they're just going to hate.
Yeah.
I wish I had a better way to say it.
I actually enjoy some of the DMs I get, and that's another thing. People just have no clue. They just want to DM you.
Yes.
Dude. They just want to get their voice, their whatever opinion out, and it's comical.
But I'm going to give you a criticism. I'm going to give you a criticism. You let them win.
Sometimes
you let them win.
Sometimes I do
because you put it back. You post it and you do all this whole thing. And it's funny. It's funny, but it's also funny. They don't deserve your time, dude.
I know. See, part of this whole thing, and Joe does a great job with grinding his butt off in his job and then having hobbies. I don't have hobbies, or I have nothing but this. And my life outside those doors have not been great. Right. And this is my life.
Yeah.
So anything that is involved in this is my world.
That's a fair point.
And when that happens, I do that. And if I see a therapist or I see someone, we talk about that where I can't allow this just to be my life because it's been 4 years of this grind, and I win high highs and lows of lows. Yeah. And when someone DMs me or some stupid stuff like that, it fires me up to a point where it's kind of like, it depends what it is, right? Like whether it's business or another pro or whatever it is, it really takes me now. I think about it and I do a much better job versus flying off the handle.
Yeah.
So much. Dude, I used to, and that's where those posts come from. And now I just laugh because now it's much more of a, we do it as a group now because it's a private DM. Nobody sees it, and no one would see it. But then I screenshot it and I share it. I'm like, guys, this is what I this is what I see, and this is what we fight hard for, dude. And when you go against the grain and you get blackballed by enough people, you have to fight. It's a war, man. And I see so many pros. They call me and they go, "Oh man, got the same idea. I want to do this." And I'm like, "Yo, bro, you got to go to war." Like all your people that think you like them and your friends, they're not, you know. And let's be real, that club I left, the only people I talk to are my partners. It's the only people. Nobody else. And honestly, I don't even care what they do because they're not part of what we are.
And to a man, every single person that I have talked to who's an investor did not invest in Skramble. They invested in you.
Yeah.
Because they knew that your work ethic, they knew how much you cared, they knew how you treated them, and they just knew your values. So it's easy to invest in that.
And I feel like from that standpoint, when I started making a little bit of public information about what we're doing, I was still working at that club, and it was very challenging because I didn't know what to do. It's middle of December, January-esque, and I'm like, I got to get through this summer, and then next fall we gotta be open,
right?
And then I needed cash quick to get everything done because it wasn't cheap, and then sign my lease. And I think the people that we had that I could talk to, I could trust, and I learned real quick. There was one, smoking gun that I talked to, and it jeopardized everything. And I really, to this day, I probably won't, I would say hello to the guy. I could care less. And I know his family. I know his new wife and where he works. And I mean, I bought him drinks at a bar. And when you make those decisions and you find out real quick, and my group, my group, I don't got nobody other than the people that I can trust on. And if you call me and you need something, I'm there.
Oh, yeah.
And I expect, just that one phone call and go, "Hey, Joe, I need a little help."
Oh, yeah.
And you're there all the time. But I feel like when I had the idea of raising some capital, I didn't know who to go to because I was so scared. Because what do I do? It was so new. Everyone, that was just the start, the indoor world. What do I do? How much can we invest? How much, if we, what are we going to lose? Et cetera. And I feel like as we get going and the confidence started, when you start getting capital and you start having people invest into you and you're like, all right, I got this. And it's just that wave of confidence, of things, because you saw the first place.
Yeah. When did you realize, or maybe you haven't, I did it?
I'm not there yet.
Okay.
I'm not
even
there
with
yet.
the first one? Was there a point in the first one before you opened this one where you're like, wow, this one is running well.
Yeah.
We got members.
I think the first winter scared me because it was COVID.
Yeah.
And looking back in 3 years, it was our lowest membership.
Yeah.
And we had the highest, well, not the highest, but we had some issues with our tee sheet situation.
Right.
And I want to manage it correctly. But the timing, because of COVID, was challenging.
Yeah.
Now we have more than we've ever had, and we never have to worry about the tee times because of how we manage it. So I feel like there's a lot of problems early on, and I still had to pay you guys. I had like, I don't know, $700K on the books in debt, something like that. Right. And I'm like, man, $700K, that's a lot over 5 years, and now we're in year 4. So I feel like year 1 was like, okay, let's just get through. Let's see if we can at least make it. I think the expenses were like nothing, too.
I would say...
By the way, working at another club, too, because I was at Bluebell.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right? So I was teaching full-time and doing that. It was wild.
I just remember walking in one night, and it was packed, and there was at least 20 people that, yo, what's up, Joe? What's going on? And I was like, wow, you did it. Yeah. Like, this is a club. It's not just a facility where you hit golf balls. It's an actual club.
Yeah, that day that we did the member, the 27-hole day, that was like, wow. Yeah. That was sick.
That was cool.
And we only had 5 simps, but we had the most in the area. Mm-hmm. Now I have 12, which I think we're going to put another 2 more to have 14. But it was like, man, if I can do that, now we have 50-man leagues, dude.
Yeah,
in one night. I mean, that's the growth that I think, like for me, I always wanted to chase that 7-figure number. Mm-hmm. And even if we hit it or not hit it, I don't even care now. Now it's like 3, 4, 5, building it, making it nicer, just making sure it can scale. Yeah. Like we scaled it 2.5 times, right? So we went from 8,000 square feet to 21,000 square feet, and it didn't scale properly with expenses and rev and all that stuff. So I feel like once I got this under control, which this is our second renewal coming up, we're going to have a nice conversation. And my brain and my renewal and the acquisition and how we get our members now, dude, it's so fast. I feel like I literally went through MBA school, living this business, and like making nothing, and just going, hey, I'm gonna learn this, and once we learn it, I can go to anyone that's pretty smart and stuff, and go, okay, we can duplicate this. And I feel like, and we talked about this a ton of times, I don't really care about franchising. I don't care about having 1,000 locations. I want to have the right locations to make us feel proud of the brand and who we are as a culture, and be financially okay, to do more. And hopefully, in my standpoint, I basically invested my life into this time-wise, heart-wise, emotion. Like, I don't go anywhere. I don't do family stuff. I don't, I don't have I don't have a girlfriend now. I don't have, I have a scout, but like to lose, and I might bring her on this because it's a good, hey, you were with me since during the build, and like it's not a good situation. I mean, it's a challenging, and you can bring my dad in though, because there's so many days where I'm like,
that's the thing. Like, people see, they might see on TV, or they might see all these different things, and man, I mean, I've seen the highs, I've seen the lows, I've seen when this place, when you walked me into this
dude,
one,
I know, and it was, I know, I want to talk about that too.
That's so insane. I for the life of me, I couldn't see it.
Yeah,
I just couldn't. There was just too much stuff. There was used to be a Michael, so there was
AC more.
Okay, so there was just racks still in the building and everything, and he's going, this is going to be here, and this is going to be here, and I'm just like, I just see,
dude. There's
I see old ladies shopping for plastic flowers right now. I don't know. I can't see.
Dude, there was so much property, and that's the funny part. When I walked in here and I saw that, I looked at so many other buildings, and I'm like, okay, I think we can figure out this dimensions. But once again, this is another thing. I think that it's to see in my mind that it's so hard to see.
Yeah.
And to understand, like, and that's where I feel like as I grow as a person, I feel like I can interpret my thoughts and vision, like to this room, like just to see, okay, we got to make this comfortable, and from where it was to now. Yeah. I mean, that was less than $1,000, and I've done a lot. You were there that day when we were doing the sanding on the wall when we were spackling. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what I think a lot of people don't understand is, They think we're a big corporation. They think we hire out. And it's just, it just can't happen. It's just so expensive.
I did a couple hours and I was like, that's a lot of manual labor. This guy's doing it every night.
Yeah, every day.
Oh my God.
But no, I mean, but the stages were nice.
Yeah.
You know, we got a couple of hiccups, you know, with permits or turf or stuff like that. But dude, 133 days in the building this, I was very happy with it.
When you go from seeing it as an abandoned AC Moore, not abandoned, but you know what I mean, to where it was, those are like crazy eye-opening things. Like that's it's like those things that's like, whoa, like you just sit in your head. It's just really, really crazy. I don't want to pull the curtain back too much, but when you think of a third one, do you think of the same size?
No. I think it's turn and burn. I think now that we've solidified in who we are, what we operate, how we do it with our, you know, due structure, how we, you know, financially, you know, borrowing and pay it back. I feel it's right in the middle of both of them.
Yeah.
I think, I hate to say it, I borrowed a couple $1 million and it's just a fun game that I just pay people back, and I've learned in 5 years. Honestly, like financially, I haven't done anything. No, you know, I haven't anything. I haven't added to my bank account. If anything, I lost, you know, in this. But in long term and the growth, and this is why I feel like people always say, if you listen to them, they always quit right when it's about to get good.
Yeah,
bro, we were going to die in August last year. I told you that. Remember? I mean, we've had these conversations, and this is a conversation that a lot of people. It sucks. I couldn't pay rent last August. We had a tough startup. We had a lot of debt. Build out was crazy expensive at the end, and then we started it up, and I couldn't really have working capital through the year. So I'm calling Joey, and I'm like, Joey, it's not going to work. And I think you were like, well, we're going to have to figure it out. And then I talked to, I think Dave maybe, or even Mike, and I was like, we got to sit down because we ain't going to pay rent. I don't even care about payroll. It's just rent.
Yeah.
You know, rents are a big number in this. And everyone's like, well, how'd you do that? And I'm like, well, look at the cash flow. Like, it happens because of we're not playing with little games here. We're talking big games.
No.
And then we got out of it, and I was like, oh, we could do that.
Yeah.
And then, listen, I could borrow money and pay it off and do all that stuff. But we got through that time, and I feel like now we're on the cusp, but it got me to evolve our model more. So then I actually can bring in some stuff to cover so we don't have to keep borrowing and doing that. And that's what happens with most businesses, right? They have a good spot, and then they have to borrow, and then they have, all that stuff. So I feel like as we go into this, I want it to be basically my job to be a caretaker of these facilities, build them, make it nice, and then start to just kind of move like I am now. A couple days here, a couple days here, have fun, meet the members, get them better at golf, and then manage them. Like with that app that we're doing now with the 18 birdies. Yeah. Huge. It's just, it's a game changer for us. I don't know if it's going to work like most things, but hey, we're going to try it.
Well, but I just want to go back. You got to remember this. Our neighbors in this, it's Home Depot and Planet Fitness. If they can't pay the rent, they go get it from another Home Depot. They go get it from their corporate office. Yeah. And so you think it's easy, and he's just got to figure it out. And so,
when I was raising the capital, the second time, a lot of fishes compared to the first time. Nobody wanted to talk, and now the third one, people now come up to me and go, "Hey, like I'm ready.
That's cool.
Like come, you can talk to me."
That's cool.
And the cool part about this whole idea, I feel, once you start to grow together and start to, hey, Joe, I'm going to pay you this because you did this, and here's your return, and then I do it, you're like, okay, this guy's not like others, and then they're bait and switching and all that stuff. And listen, I'm as honest as it gets, and I'll show you exactly what's happening. And I feel like once you start doing that, you bring other people involved. Like we have a couple people in the
you open yourself up to criticism when you're honest, but you do. Right, you want to attract people like you. So, if you want to,
and especially when you grow,
you're going to have to be honest.
Yeah, and especially when you want to grow.
Yes.
Right? Because I'm like, I don't want anyone in our group that's not looking at 3, 4, 5. Just don't. Like that negative stuff out the door.
Yeah.
Like, I'm never going to stop at 1. It was never about 1. 1 was just to see if it worked. And then number 2 is like, okay, let's see if it scales, and then we can do more. And as we go, everyone's like, hey, build here and build here. It's like, I just, like, we're still so young, man. And, like, we're so easy. I mean, it's only year 4. And I feel like you and I, even from the starting days at that club, spending those 9 holes and stuff like that, it was just a culmination of what we do every day just outside of the club.
Yeah.
And now that we can control what we do indoors, and we can, like, have that, it was always tough for me because we had what we did, but then I had so much stuff I had to do for the club, and then they would be on my butt, and my pay was junk. I mean, I could have worked at Wawa for more money.
Right. Some of my favorite times ever on a golf course were at that club, having the twilight lesson and being out on the course and playing matches and playing till dark.
Yeah.
And just mix up the course, playing different tees to different greens and everything else like that. And then you were gone, but then we come over here or to the first one, and when we were able to recreate that same thing and realize, oh wow, this is fun. This is awesome. We were doing the same thing. And also because we weren't racing the clock anymore, we did a lot of it on Instagram. We do a lot of stories, and people really got people
into it, dude.
Yeah,
I got to be honest with you. I feel like, and I watched nothing against the guys on YouTube these days.
Yeah,
there is no type of what we banter about and talk and push each other.
It's unscripted,
and it's all unscripted.
Yeah.
And by the way, like, we say stuff like off the cuff, and we laugh at each other when we're being dumb and we hit a bad shot. And I feel like when you start to do that and you let people in, and this is kind of the thing that I want to do with this idea of the Skramble Life, is let people into what we do on a daily basis. Let them know, like, how we grind, what we have to do, like what we do for autism, and what we do for all that kind of stuff, the outings, the charities, the people, bring them in as guests and go, hey, this person matters.
Yes.
Right? He's a 37 handicap and he just started, but he matters.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, like, let's talk about, like, if you're late for a tee time.
Right.
You're late for an interview.
Yes.
You're late for whatever.
Yes.
That's an issue.
Yeah. I've seen him call kids because they left a soda can out.
Yeah.
May not be a big deal. Okay, why didn't you just throw it out? Well, it is a big deal.
It's a big deal.
Respect.
For sure.
And if you can't respect someone who's treating you well, how are you going to treat other people? Yeah. And it's a big deal. And I think we're not having kids puts us in a really good, and I know we're all over the place.
It's all right. That's why
it gives us.
That's why we edit.
It gives us this chance, because they hear this stuff from their parents all the time, but when they hear it from somebody that doesn't have to tell them that it's not their job to tell them that they don't think is against them, that, like, is your friend on top of it hits home. And what do you think? It just times out after a little while?
Yeah, an hour, I think.
Gotcha.
We good over on the camera?
Yeah, you're good.
So yeah, I think we have an opportunity as a club, me as a golf pro, going, hey, let's change up the way people think about golf.
Yeah.
Whether it's indoor, whether it's outside, whether it's creating a community, doing things on a different level than most, because we can. And what we do next, and this podcast, and bringing new people in, and really kind of making our mark in the game our way, and different, just to be different. And you said, you can be different in golf and whatever, but you can be different anywhere, dude. And I feel like the only place, and I think I did a speech when I won that award a couple years ago. I won a PGA Philadelphia Player Development Award. Mike and Donna were there, and I started speaking, and I've been fired from 5 or 6 jobs, and I've had top clubs. You name them, I've been there. I've never felt like I'm home. Yeah. Never felt like I was a part of something. I thought I was a part of something before, and then they did what they did, and I learned real quick.
Yeah.
They didn't care. And then all of a sudden, it changed my whole world.
And that's because you have such a different way of teaching, and you're very enthusiastic, and you're not stuffy. That sucks that those clubs did that to you, because that's what I kind of feel happened, right?
Dude, I am one of the biggest program guys around.
Yeah.
We have the biggest program. I started from zero, and I grew it to this.
Yeah, but
and you're telling me those clubs fired me.
I know.
You know what
right.
I'm saying?
So,
it's nuts. I work for you, okay?
Yeah.
I'm worth $10 million in 5 years, and you fired me.
Yeah.
Before I got. So you're telling me that I'm worse when I worked for you than that?
Yeah, right.
Bro, I'm the same person.
Yeah.
Those people fired me, or they got rid of me because I didn't fit into their deal. And then all of a sudden...
And here's the thing. If he did fit into their deal, I would have never taken a lesson from him.
And I would be miserable.
And this wouldn't be here.
It wouldn't work.
But you always knew when Justin was at an event, when Justin was at the club. Everybody knew Justin. Everyone loves Justin. And, but he will talk. You'll talk trash. He'll have fun.
Dude,
He'll jab with you. Yeah, do all these things. And that was fun. And that he was the only one that worked there that really made me feel comfortable and like appreciated as a, you know what I mean? I'm not going to say it.
Push that mic up just a touch, because it's just hitting the sweatshirt.
In a real way. They have to say Mr. Arndt. They have to do the certain things. But Justin was a friend and really cared about your experience. So
my biggest thing, and this is kind of where it's unbelievable to me how I've gone through this industry, this business, and any other business, I'd kill it doing whatever. Your business, someone else's business, whatever. The golf business just does not want you to succeed in a different way. Right. They want you, like, they'll go, okay, you have to do it this way. You're only going to make it if you be a head pro. Bro, not a chance in hell I'm going to be that way, dude. Right. There's no way. Right. So then, I leave a club or do whatever, and then I'm like, man, I just put my heart and soul into that club, and they go, see ya. Yeah. And all of a sudden, I lose everything. And I'm like, what did I do that for? And now, then I open this up, and I'm like, okay, let's grind. Let's go. And then, I've been doing it 40 years, every day, all day, and it's like, I'm not even... And bro, as well as I do, that word burnout. Justin, don't burn out. Bro, I let me know when I'm even close. Yeah. I'm not even close. And, I can even go harder. And these people, I didn't even know what work was before. I was, taking a vacation compared to what I do now. I mean, jeez. Episode 1, Skramble Life. Skramble Joe, first guest. Had to bring the OG on. Talk about what we're about. Had a blast as always. Trying to, reflect. I feel like, you and I in this kind of... I don't know, whatever you call it, situation. We kind of reflected a little bit of
this was good, man. I really enjoyed it. I was a little nervous, but I know
really first one, but we nailed it obviously as usual. Yep. We're bringing everyone along in the whole grand scheme of the Skramble Life. We're going to have some cool guests. I already got 2 and 3 lined up. We'll get this out. Rock and roll. I got some graffiti on the wall.
You got 3 mics. I'd like to come back even with the other guests.
Yeah, dude. I mean, cool. You're always invited. I think more and more, I feel like the more you've listened to a lot of the people that we have on, it will resonate and be like, man,
I got a lot out of this.
That's why we work so hard and do what we do. So, Skramble Life, see ya.